Determined women of destiny. Oh yeah, with Yvonne the motivator. Come and see. Passion meets purpose every single time. Amazing women shining, letting their light climb. Stories to empower, courage to believe, encourage, inform, inspire. You will achieve. Women of destiny. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, good people. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Determined Women of Destiny. I am your host, Yvonne, the motivator. And check this out. Do me a favor. Will y'all please like, share, and definitely subscribe? I'm trying to get to just 1,000 subscribers. Can y'all help me get there, please? Well, my guest today has been long anticipated, right? You know, life be life and things happen. But we are back. I'm back with Melva McBride. Listen, I know her as Melva McBride. And if you listen to part 1, you know that I know her personally. But I know that her last name is Melva McBride. Bryant. So the thing is, I want to give you all a recap. And if you didn't check out part 1, I'm going to ask you to check out part 1 after this and then come back and listen to this again. Right? So, she had childhood trauma. She got involved with drugs. She got married. It was a domestic violence situation. She went to jail. Before she went to jail, she was on Suffolk County's and America's Most Wanted. And she is now here free, living for Jesus, always inspiring people on Facebook. Some of her stuff is so outrageously funny, but the other stuff just makes you think about life and, you know, what you're doing with life. Melva, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you, my sister. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I did the recap, right? And so when we last left off, one of the things that I had the question about is you ain't seen your husband since the last time you saw your husband.
Ooh, Jesus, I don't want to see him, sis.
And at that point, you didn't know if he was alive or dead. Am I correct?
Exactly.
And you say at this point, you're not trying.
Let me just backtrack and clear that up.
Okay.
Because, I say that, you know, I don't want to see him, but, you know, in spite of what we went through and how he did me and what he did to me, you know, and people might say that girl was crazy, but I still love him. You know, in spite of everything, I still love him, and I guess it comes from there wasn't any closure.
Mm.
We didn't, you know, it wasn't no closure in our situation, in our marriage. He went to jail, I went to jail, and when I came home, I had no clue. I have not seen him. Some of the family members seen him, but I haven't seen him. You know, and I tell, you know, and I share this all the time because, you know, I'm in other groups and other meetings and I speak in other places. And I let it be known because some people are going through the same thing or have been through what I've been through. And when I share my experience, strength, and hope with them, it helps them, you know. So, yeah, you know, I still love him. And if I see him, you know, which I don't, in my gut, I feel like he's not alive. That's in my spirit. But I still love him. He beat me dead going near to death, and I still love him.
Is it safe to say that the love that you have for him is the good that you know of him and not what transpired to be bad? Because you said your marriage in the beginning was really good.
It was really good. He did. I mean, he was the best before we got married. He was everything. You know, we was together 5 years before we got married. He was the best man ever. He the best husband. He did everything. He gave me. I had everything in the world. I got married at 27, and I had everything in the world that a woman could want. I didn't want for nothing. The house, the cars, the clothes, the jewelry, the money, everything. I didn't want for anything. I had everything. You know, um, after we got married, you know, things, I started to see the change because I became a possession. You know, he possessed me. It was like he started to tell me what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it, what to wear, what to say, how to do it. It was just, me. I'm Miss Independent. You ain't telling me what to do. I always have my own. I had my own little hustle. I had a job always, and I didn't need no man to take care of me. But he stepped up, and he just wanted to do everything for me. And he turned me into somebody that I didn't even know who I was. When I looked up, I didn't know who I was because this man that changed my whole life. And I grew to like what he would do to me because I didn't have any escape. So he would beat me, and then we would have sex, and I grew to like that, and that's what I look for, and everything that he did, I just adjusted,
Do you
and
think?
after that,
Do you
go
think
ahead.
that the physical abuse that you received from him was almost like the trauma you went through as a child, just not with the hitting?
Of course,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely, because it had already been instilled in me from my father when he raped me at 10, and he was an older man, you know. Um, it's like my husband was older than me,
Mm.
and he had a he I always used to say I want this man, I want the aggressive man, I want somebody to control me. These are the things I was saying when I was younger. I was used to I want a man to control me, who just tell me what to do, when to do it. Be careful what you ask for.
You sure will get it.
You know what I'm saying? Because I definitely got it. I'm saying, and I don't wish that on nobody today, but
Man.
I asked for that, and that's what I got. And Lord knows, 8 years of that, you
Mm-mm.
know, um, it
My
was torture.
my great grandma used to say, "Be careful what you ask for. You may get your belly full, and a place called hungry, you will wish." You know.
That's right.
And when I was young, I couldn't understand it, but
That's
I totally
you
understand.
understand, right?
I totally understand it now. So,
Yeah.
you go to jail, he goes to jail, you do your time, you get out, right? And so that's the beginning of the new Melva, right? You're walking into the newness of who you are. So you basically have to learn who you are all over again.
Well, while I was in jail, I got married too.
Okay, how you
I
get
didn't get the,
married that you didn't get
I didn't,
divorced?
I didn't get that part when I did the first half with you guys because I didn't get to that part.
Okay.
I married a woman in jail. You know, um, my curiosity of being with a woman, I always had that curiosity growing up. Even when I was with my husband in the street, I still had a woman too. He did what he did, and I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? And I enjoyed it because that was my escape. She was my escape from him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I went to jail, you know, I met somebody in jail. You know what I'm saying? She was aggressive. You know, she was everything that I wanted in a woman. So another woman knows what another woman wants. Never, ever, ever make that mistake to get involved with a woman because she'll drive you crazy. You'll lose your freaking mind. But I did it, because here I am. I'll try anything once. That's me. That was my motto.
I'm sorry
I
to
was just,
laugh. I'm
you know
sorry
what I'm
to
saying?
I'm sorry to laugh because
That's
you said
okay.
don't get involved with a woman because she'll drive you crazy. And you know guys think we're unstable creatures as it
That's right.
is.
Right. Right. So yeah, I know. Yeah, go ahead. I listen. You know, she had I don't know, I think growing up it was like if you was a gangster or if you was a murderer or if you killed somebody, that stuff turned me on.
Hmm.
So I met her. She had 25 to life. I had 18 years. She had 25 to life because she killed her previous girlfriend. And that turned me on. You know how sick people are? I was a sick individual. I just, this, you know, it just like, that turned me on, you know? Um, and I told her that. You know, I never had any area with letting a person know how I feel straight up, you know, no chaser. I'm letting you know from the gate, you know. And we were together for the first 8 years of my bid, but I was CMC status because I had that escape charge and I couldn't leave Bedford Hills. When her time got low, she was able to get uh, transferred to Albion. And when they put her to go transfer, that messed me up. And then that's when I got to the point where I had to start praying in my cell at night for God to take the feeling of the woman out of my system. I found God in prison,
Okay.
even though I already had him in my system when I was a child, because, you know, we used to go to church on Sunday. Betty Sue used to come make us go to church on Sunday as little kids. But as we got older, we wasn't going to church. We was doing other things.
Mm-hmm.
But God was instilled in me, and I had to pray my way out of that, but feeling like being involved with a woman because I knew it was wrong anyway in God's eyes. And I used to be in my cell at night, locked in and spinning around in circles, crying and praying to God, please, please just take this feeling away from me. If you take it away from me, I'll never do it again. Please, God, beg God. You know, uh, that was the most painful. That was more hurtful. A woman's hurt is more hurtful than a man hurting you. That was the most painfulest thing that I ever had to go through in my entire life. And I never want to go through that again to this day. Um, and when God healed me from that, I mean, I was losing my mind. Like didn't want to come home. I wanted to max out. I wanted to stay with this girl. I wanted to max, do my bid. You know what I'm saying? The whole 18 and a half years, I wanted to do that. That half was another 3 years. That'd have been 20 years, you know?
Wow.
But the counselor told me, she said, no, you can't stay, you can't do that. You know, that's gonna come on the back, that'll be your parole. You have to, you gotta go home. But I was messed up mentally over a woman, so I never want to go through that again. I had to pray my way out of that. So when I did get released, I came home, I was messed up. I had the abuse from my husband, afraid to get involved with anybody because I was messed up mentally. I still had that mentality is the man, if he's not going to beat me, he don't love me. In the relationships that I tried to get into, I chased people away because then I got to be the aggressor. And a lot of these men they weren't that type,
Mm-hmm.
They didn't, no, you can't be the aggressor. I'm the man. You can't be the man in a relationship. And I didn't listen, So I started to take a look at myself. I had to get into counseling. I had to get into therapy. I had to take medication. I was really messed up. And you don't see how messed up you are until you step back and take a look at yourself and be like, wow, it's not them, it's you. I had to take a look at me. I didn't need nobody to say, Melva, it's you. I knew it was me, and I had to seek help, professional.
Do you know how many people don't take introspect and say, hey, it's not them, it's me, and
Oh,
I need help? As
yeah,
women, especially women of color,
yeah,
we act like we got the Brooklyn Bridge on our shoulders and we got to
right.
hold it up for every car, right?
Yeah,
And so when we start hurting, right, we don't want to say, can you help me? 3 words. 3 words could change our life. Change our
By
lives.
pride. People be prideful.
Yes.
And at the point that I was at, I wasn't prideful. I knew I said, if I don't get some help, somebody gonna get killed. Somebody, because it got to the point that I told myself to this day, I tell, even when I share, I let people know, I let the men know, listen, you this ain't what you want, because you can't come into my life to play with my feelings and lie and cheat on me, because I will kill you because of what I already been through. I know what my mentality. I tell them, listen, this is not. I can't. You can't play with me. So I stay out of relationships. I stay single. 15 years celibate. Me, 15 years celibate, and I'm proud of that. And people say, how you do it? I looked up one day and I looked in the mirror and I was like, "Dad, God, it's mind over matter." You
Mm.
know, when I was younger, I felt like I needed a man because I had to have this man. I needed the sex. I needed that. As I got older, I realized I didn't need that.
You know
You know?
why? Because our era, you got to have a man anyway. You can't got to
Right.
have a man, right? And so that's what we was running after. When we was
Yeah.
in school, I got to have a boyfriend,
Gotta have a
right?
boyfriend.
Not
Yeah.
I got to get a degree or
Right.
I got to learn this math, right? No, I got to have a
Right.
boyfriend. Prom's
Yeah.
coming up. Who's going to take me to prom, right? All
Right.
of this stuff that I'm not saying is unimportant, but to children that aren't raised in trauma, that's not the first thing in your
Right.
mind. That's
Right.
part of your experience. That's not your experience. And
Right.
so we carry that into our adulthood. And see, you came to the point where, hey, listen, I got some stuff to fix in Melva.
Right.
And I'm letting God fix Melva. So when the
Right.
time comes for the person to be in my life, I'll be the person that should be in his life.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than meeting the person that you should be with and you done ran them off.
Mm-hmm.
And once you run somebody off, they usually don't run back.
No, they don't. And it's okay today. Don't come back because listen, it's safe for you. You stay over there.
You said
And I
the same.
realized that, I had got, I tried it. I tried relationships when I came home. It didn't last only 6 months. I sabotaged them myself because I gotta provoke you to want to put your hands on me because you ain't gonna do it. Then you don't love me. Stuff like that. Our parents used to always say, "I beat you because I love you."
Mm-hmm.
That was the motto. I beat you because I love you because I don't want you to do this. What sense do that make? That make no sense. So I had to take into consideration that I was the problem. You know what I'm saying? I needed to get help myself before I could try to help somebody else or be involved with somebody else. And I tell a person to this day, I'd be like, listen, I stay single because I want to stay out of handcuffs. Because I'm going to go to jail and you're going to be dead because you're going to try to play me when I already told you don't play me. If I'm telling you what I already been through and how what I went through with a man, and you gonna go and do the same thing that man did to you, I'm gonna kill you. And then it's gonna be a wrap. So I stay single and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like God has intervened in my life and he did a total transformation from the inside out.
Yeah.
You know?
And now you have a relationship with your children, right?
Yes.
I remember seeing your son in Walmart. If he can't wear that uniform, nobody can.
Right. That's right.
Is he in the army?
Yes, he is. He's home now. He came home in December. He was away for a year in Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
He came home in December, and he was at my 29-year anniversary in January. Last month, I just celebrated 29 years clean.
Congrats. Yes, congrats.
He was there, and life is good, man. I can't even complain. Like, when I go through trials and tribulations, I didn't went through, I didn't have a stroke, I've been in a car accident. I had surgery on my back. It's like a lot of stuff that I went through, but God saved me. I was in a nursing home for 30 days. They treated me the worst. I don't wish that on nobody. But my boys was right there. These boys took care of me. They made sure they showed up every day. They watched over me. Now Deshaun is here with me now. So it's me, him, and Melvin, and these boys take care of me, man. You know, I
You
was
said that
working.
on purpose. You said that on purpose because you know
I had to
Deshaun
say
is
that.
my boy. You know
Yes,
that's
I had
my
to let
boy.
you know.
I'm
Yes, and he's doing excellent. You know what I'm saying?
proud of him. I really am proud of him. I am.
You know, is when you let go and let God have all the realms. You know, like I had to let it go in order to stay free, because that judge told me if I came back in front, even though that judge ain't living today, but the next judge is been living, you know, if I go back in front of the judge, it would be 25 to life. I don't got that type of time. I'm 66 years old. I ain't got no time to be going to jail no more. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Please say that loud for the women that
yes.
keep going back. That recidivism is
No,
is is out of control.
it is. But why do you keep going back? Because why? Because at some point in time, you got to make a decision to say, hey, I ain't going back to jail. I'm gonna get this together now.
See, that's
You
just
know?
it. Can you
You know?
help me? They're not
Yes.
saying, can you help me? Oh, I got 10 years. I can do that with my eyes closed. Well,
Go,
good for you. Because
go ahead.
I don't even want to go 30 minutes in there with my
No,
eyes closed.
no. I wanted to open up a house for women that are coming out of the prison. You know, I took this class, a parent initiative class at the town of Babylon. I got all these certificates that I took that I could, you know, to open up a house. And then COVID came, you know, it shut it down, you know, couldn't get the grant. You know, all the politicians that came to the graduation and gave me their emails and their cards and told me, oh, if you need me, this, that, and the third. And then when I started to reach out to them, none of them reached back, you know. Um, and I wanted to open the house up for the women that's coming home to
Mm-hmm.
let them know, listen, you don't have to go back to the street to sell drugs. You don't got to sell your body. There's a way that you can get your kids back. I can help you. I can share with you how I got here and how I stay here. You don't
Mm.
got to use no more, no matter what. You don't got to sell your body no more, no matter what. You don't have to get beat on. You don't got to let nobody pimp you out, no matter what. There's a new way of life. And first you got to turn it over, you know? You got to surrender, you know? You just can't, you got to get out of your own way, you know, and let God have his way, man. And then you got to realize that it ain't even about a man. And so many women come home and got kids, you know what I'm saying? You know, and some of them come home and want to get their kids back, and some of them come home and don't want their kids back, you know?
And some of them
Um,
can't, and some of them can't get their kids back
right, they can't.
because
So, and then,
they lost their parental rights while they
right.
were incarcerated.
Right. And those are the ones that were doomed to repeat the behavior. Because they were, I don't got nothing to live for. I ain't got no responsibilities. I'm going to go out and do this, that, and the third. I see it every day. I see these women, you know, they come in, they stay for a minute. The next minute, you know, they going back into prison. Like, prison ain't even the same no more. You know,
Mm.
it's so different, you know. I was able to like go to the prison and visit a couple of women that got incarcerated, and I told them, I said I'll be there. And when I showed up, they were shocked and they started crying because they didn't believe that, because people lied to them. I said, listen, I'm a woman of my word. I said, if I said I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. You know, I made sure they had commissary. You know, I made sure they had their visit and everything. And when they got released, I went and picked them up, made sure they got safe somewhere. But you know, everybody ain't me, you
You're
know,
right.
and people not gonna have your back. I didn't have nobody to do that for me, but I can do that for the next person to show them, listen, there's no reason to be out in the streets, ain't nothing out there but death. Jails, institution, and death. Which part you want?
Yeah. You know,
You know?
you try to tell the youngins, the young girls, right?
Yes.
Someone put a post on Facebook one time and said, young girl, your youth is not for you to throw it away in some man's
Right.
bed. It is for you to deal with what's going on in your head. And that blew me away because I'm like, well, why didn't somebody put that sign in the school for me. You know, I would have loved to see that at Amityville High School as I was
You
walking
know what
down the
I'm
hall.
saying?
You know, so
Listen,
you
I had
know,
somebody say to me, they asked me about my ex. All my exes is dead. And when I said that, they looked at me like I killed them. I said, nah, I didn't kill them. I said, it just so happened, unfortunately, they ain't here no more. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Every last one of them, they gone. You know, they were hustlers. They were OGs. They were gangsters. They were number riders. They ain't here no more. Some of them was on drugs. Some of them was dope fiends. Some of them was just hustling, just number riders. All that because that was the type of men that I was attracted to. They ain't here no more. My husband was the biggest dope dealer on Long Island. You know, I don't know where he at. I pray for him though all the time. You know, maybe one day he might show up. Maybe he might not show up. I don't know. You
It
know,
sounds
but
it
I'm
sounds
prepared.
like it sounds like your 18 years in jail saved your life.
Yeah, it did. I told the judge that when he locked me, when they finally got me, caught me
Hmm.
after I escaped from the precinct, and I came when they picked me up, and the police said to me, they said the officer said the sergeant is pissed off with you because you walked out of here. I said I walked right past the door. I walked out the same door y'all brought me in, the back door. The sergeant was sitting at the window. He didn't pay me no. I walked right past him and jumped the fence and walked down 109. I said I was supposed to get away because when I was walking down 109, a man that was driving a truck that had a church van. He was had a church on Spruce, somewhere on Spruce Street. That was the writing on the van.
Hmm.
He picked me up and gave me a ride, and I said, "Ain't this some God gave me a ride?" And as that man picked me up, he said, "What you doing walking down 109?" He said, "Where you going?" I said, "Silver Pine." He said, "Well, I'm having a church service tomorrow. Come to the service." I said, "I'll be there." I knew I wasn't going. But I felt that God sent that man to pick me up to get me off the street of 109. So they didn't come pick me up. They didn't look for me until it was late at night.
Mm.
You
And
know,
what
they
and what
listen.
and what she's talking about is in part one, where she was arrested and she literally walked out of the
Yeah,
it was first precinct, right?
from the precinct.
Walked
Yes, I
right
did.
out of first precinct, right past the captain sitting at the desk, and like she said, she walked right outside and got a ride.
Yes, I did. I jumped that fence, that barbed wire fence. I got a scratch on my leg right now to this day. That barbed wire scratched my leg. And I walked right down 109. And that man pulled up in that church van from Spruce Road. And he told me about his service. That on the next day, he dropped me off on a corner of Silver Pine.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, and that's where I was at, Silver Pine. My mother lived a couple of doors down. And God bless Nisi. Nisi was a correction officer. She allowed me to come stay in her house. Her correction officer let me stay in her house without turning me in. You know, I stayed there. You know what I'm saying? And by the time they came to lock me up, I had got clean. So when I went to jail, I was clean. I was out of jail. They looked for me for a year. I had got clean. I had went to some conventions. I had went to Detroit. I had done some things. You know what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
was praying all the way we drove to Detroit, and I was praying because nobody knew that I had escaped from that precinct. I told my sponsor and I told another recovering addict that I was living with. And she told me, she said, go to Detroit when you get back, go turn yourself in. And I didn't want to turn myself in when I got back, but I knew I had to. You know, I couldn't like keep jeopardizing people's lives, but she didn't turn her back on me. She didn't tell me to get out of her house. She didn't want the police there. She loved on me, man. That's what made me want to stay, you know?
Yeah.
So when they did finally come to get me, the term got me, they picked me up. I had on a pink robe and some pink and white LA gears. That's how long ago it was. LA gears was out.
Mm.
And they took me right in that robe. And by the time they got me to Riverhead, all them women was waiting for me. They was cheering me on. And I was like, what is y'all cheering me for? Listen, I'm about to go through damn near life. I didn't know how much time they was giving me
'Cause-
because they were so mad with me. you know?
Right.
And they was like, yo, they don't like that. They mad with you. You might get this, you might get that. I was like, whatever. I'm ready now.
What
I couldn't
advice?
go.
What advice would you give young women? Before we gotta go. What advice would you give
Oh
young
yeah, that's
women
right.
that are going down that path?
Um, the advice I would give to the women today that are on the path of destruction is that you don't have to do this alone. There is somebody to help you. It only takes one individual to reel you in, to love on you. Get somebody that's going to love on you and show you the way, to let you know that you don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to sell your body. You don't have to walk the streets. There is a new way of life, and all you got to do, I suggest, your best suggestion is to turn it over to God and let God have his way with you. Because without God, we ain't going to make it. Man
Amen.
can't help us. God can help you. Because I couldn't allow man to help me. I had to give it to God. I'm telling you, I had to pray hard and believe in what I prayed for. And you got to have faith. You got to stand on God's faith. Read your word, Get in the book of Psalms, Psalms 91 saved my life.
He
Psalms
that dwelleth in the secret
my life.
place shall
Yes,
abide in the shadow.
yes.
We can't do this. We can't do
You
this
know?
because we'll be shouting soon. And you got to go to Bible study. And Zoom get ready to cut me off, girl. But thank
I
you.
love you, my sister.
Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for sharing
Anytime.
your story. I really appreciate it. So until next time, good people, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
God bless everyone.
Y'all keep doing what you're doing until what you're doing gets done.
Determined women of